This week's Parsha, we learn about the order of the sacrifices, the karbanos, which are taught to us in the beginning of Vayikra, Leviticus. And the first sacrifice which we learn about was the Olah. And there were many different kinds of Olah sacrifices that could be brought depending on your socioeconomic scale. The people that can afford a more expensive carbon sacrifice purchased a cattle. Ones that cannot afford that brought sheep or a lamb. Other ones brought birds. And the most basic Olah sacrifice was the sacrifice of the mincha, the flour offering. And interestingly enough, I guess this can also be said, this was the vegetarians' sacrifice, the flour sacrifice, which was brought mixed with a little bit of oil and frankincense. But what's interesting about the Olah sacrifice, the way the Torah articulates it, it says, v'nefesh ki sakriv, that a nefesh, a soul, a person that brings the mincha sacrifice. And Rashi tells us, the famous commentator, Rashi, teaches us that the word nefesh is to emphasize that even if a person can only afford to bring the most basic contribution forward, only some flour mixed with oil, God says, I consider that as if he's brought his nefesh, he's brought his soul forward. And this teaches us a powerful lesson, as the Mishnah teaches us somewhere else, that echad hamarbe, regardless if someone does a lot, echad hamamid, someone just does much less, it's okay. The only condition is how a person does it. It's not how much you contribute, how much you spend in the service, but rather how it's done. Is it done in a meaningful way? Is it done in a sincere way? Is it done with all your heart? And that's what matters. And that's what it teaches of the nefesh. Just bring your nefesh forward. Don't worry about how large or grand your contribution is, regardless if it's in money, other resources, or even if it's in a prayer. Even sometimes a short prayer that's 2 minutes long could be more meaningful than a 40-minute prayer without meaning in it. And that's a great lesson to us all. Because many times we dismiss our contributions as not important because they're not grand enough. I can only contribute $10 to charity. I can only pray for 2 minutes. I can only, read so much from the Torah, or not much at all. Let us just remember, it's the nefesh that's important. How we bring forward our contribution. Folks, in our mundane lives, we have so many opportunities to go ahead and make meaningful contributions. Not contributions which are grand or large, but rather contributions which are meaningful in so many different facets of life. Let us remember the lesson of this week's Parsha when we understand the words, the nefesh, ki sakriv, bringing your soul forward in a meaningful way. Have a wonderful Shabbos.